You are the most despicable, arrogant, and heartless person I've ever had the displeasure of meeting." The silence that followed Clara Sullivan's scream was deafening. Every head at the Grandeur Hotel's charity gala turned toward the scene. A 26-year-old attendant in her black and white uniform, pointing her finger at the richest man in the room. Robert Blackwell, heir to the Blackwell Industries empire, looked at her with those ice-cold dark green eyes, his jaw locked. His $3,000 tuxedo had a red punch stain on it. Around them, 300 guests from New York's elite watched with their mouths hanging open. That's when Clara did the unthinkable. She kicked his shin, hard. Robert groaned, holding his leg, as murmurs exploded throughout the room. "How horrible! Is she crazy? Security!" But before anyone could move, Clara was already crouching down beside little Lucy, a 6-year-old who was crying on the floor with her blue balloon popped. The girl was the daughter of one of the waiters and had been the only thing that made her smile during her endless double shift that night. 2 days earlier, Clara never imagined her life would change on an ordinary Tuesday. She was in the tiny apartment she shared with her best friend Riley in Brooklyn, eating cereal straight from the box while watching a cooking show. "You're going to be late again," Riley shouted from the bathroom, her voice echoing through the thin wall. "It's only 3 minutes," Clara replied, but she was already putting on her worn-out sneakers. Working as an attendant at elegance events wasn't her dream, but it paid the bills, or almost. Clara was 26 years old, had an art degree she didn't use, and a heart too big for her own good. Her mother always said she felt too much, cared too much, got hurt too much. When she arrived at the office that morning, her boss, the fearsome Mrs. Thornfield, summoned her immediately. "Sullivan, you're scheduled for the Blackwell event on Saturday. It's the charity gala of the year. Don't screw it up." Clara's heart raced. Events of that caliber meant generous tips. It meant maybe being able to pay the overdue rent. It meant hope. "You can count on me," she responded with a smile. The following 2 days were a rush of preparations. Clara imagined 1,000 scenarios, but none included meeting Robert Blackwell, and definitely none included kicking him. Present. "You just stole my nephew's joy," Clara continued, ignoring the security guards approaching. She picked Lucy up. "A child. A balloon. Would it have cost you that much to step aside instead of popping it with your ridiculous gold lighter just because it was in your way?" Robert straightened up, still holding his shin. For the first time in his life, he was genuinely shocked. No one had ever spoken to him like that, and definitely no one had ever kicked him. But what left him most perplexed wasn't the physical pain. It was the fierce gleam in that woman's light brown eyes. It was the way she protected the child. It was the fire he didn't know he was still looking for. "You're fired," said Mrs. Thornfield, appearing beside them, her face red with anger. "No." Robert's voice cut through the air like a blade. Everyone fell silent. "She's not." He looked at Clara, and something passed between them. Something dangerous, something inevitable. "Actually," Robert continued, that serious gaze still fixed on her, "I need to speak with Miss Sullivan, Clara Sullivan, and I have nothing to say to you." She turned, still carrying Lucy, and walked toward the exit, but his voice reached her. "We'll see." Clara didn't look back. She didn't see the slight smile that touched Robert's lips for the first time in years. She didn't see his personal assistant, Helena, approach with a tablet and whisper something in his ear that made his smile disappear completely. Because Robert Blackwell had a bigger problem than an attendant who had kicked him. In 48 hours, he would be officially engaged to Vivian Ashford, heiress to Ashford Hotels. A marriage arranged by their parents decades ago. A contract that, if broken, would destroy his company. And he had just met the only woman who made him feel alive in 10 years. Clara stared at the eviction notice taped to her apartment door. 72 hours. That's all she had left. "Please tell me you didn't actually kick Robert Blackwell," Riley said from behind her, phone in hand, eyes wide with horror. "I did." Clara ripped the notice off and walked inside. "And I'd do it again." "Clara, Do you know who he is? His family owns half of Manhattan. There are literally memes about you on social media right now. Riley shoved her phone in Clara's face. The video was everywhere. Her balloon gate was trending. Clara watched herself kick one of the most powerful men in America, and honestly, she looked pretty badass doing it. At least I went out with style, Clara muttered, collapsing onto their threadbare couch. Mrs. Thornfield called. You're blacklisted from every event company in the city. No one will hire you now. Clara felt the walls closing in. No job, no money, no apartment soon. But when she closed her eyes, all she could see was little Lucy's tears and Robert Blackwell's cold, entitled smirk as he'd walked past that pop balloon like it was nothing. I couldn't just stand there and... Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Miss Sullivan, my office. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. Don't be late. R.B. What the hell? Clara showed Riley the message. Oh my God, he's going to sue you. Clara, we can't afford a lawyer. But something in Clara's gut told her this wasn't about a lawsuit. Blackwell Tower. Robert hadn't slept. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her. Those fierce brown eyes, that righteous anger, the way she'd protected that child without a second thought about her own career. Sir, Miss Ashford is here for the engagement photo shoot, Helena announced, interrupting his thoughts. Vivian Ashford glided into his office like she owned it. Tall, blonde, impeccably dressed in designer everything. She was beautiful in the way a perfectly cut diamond was beautiful. Cold, flawless, and completely untouchable. Robert, darling. She air-kissed near his cheeks. I hope you're ready. The photographers are downstairs. Mother wants this in Vogue by next week. Vivian, we need to talk. Not now. We have a schedule. She checked her Cartier watch. Oh, and about that little incident at the gala. My PR team has already spun it as you being assaulted by an unstable employee. The sympathy poll numbers are excellent. Something twisted in Robert's chest. She wasn't unstable. She was defending a child. Vivian's perfectly microbladed eyebrows rose. Since when do you care about the help's motivations? Come on, we're late. As she walked out, Robert looked at the background check his security team had compiled on Clara Sullivan. Art degree from a state school. Parents deceased. Working 3 jobs before the gala incident. 0 complaints from employers. Volunteer work at a children's hospital. She was everything his world wasn't. Real, passionate, brave. And he couldn't stop thinking about her. The next morning, Clara stood in front of Blackwell Tower, feeling like she was about to enter the Death Star. The building was all glass and steel, scraping the sky, intimidating by design. The receptionist looked her up and down with barely concealed disdain. Name? Clara Sullivan. I have a 53rd floor. He's expecting you. The elevator ride felt like ascending to judgment. When the doors opened, Helena was waiting. Miss Sullivan, follow me. Robert's office was obscenely large. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked Central Park. The furniture probably cost more than Clara would make in 10 years. And there he was, standing by the window, somehow even more handsome in daylight. You came, Robert said, turning to face her. Your message made it sound like I didn't have a choice. You always have a choice, Miss Sullivan. That's something I'm learning. Clara crossed her arms. Why am I here? To apologize? Because I won't. A ghost of a smile. I know. That's why you're here. He gestured to a chair. Sit, please. Against her better judgment, Clara sat. Robert moved to his desk, pulled out a folder. You're being evicted. You're blacklisted from event work. You have $17 in your checking account. He looked up. How am I doing so far? Clara's cheeks burned with humiliation and rage. You had me investigated? Standard procedure after an assault. I barely touched you. My shin would disagree. But his eyes held something she couldn't read. I have a proposition for you. I'm not interested in $1 million. The air left Clara's lungs. What? $1 million, paid in full, in exchange for 6 months of your time. Doing what, exactly? Clara's voice was ice. Robert leaned back against his desk. Being my girlfriend, or rather, pretending to be. Clara laughed. Actually laughed. You're insane. I'm engaged, Miss Sullivan, to Vivian Ashford. A marriage contract signed before I was old enough to understand what it meant. If I don't go through with it, my mother's shares revert to my uncle, who will destroy everything my father built. Then marry her. I don't love her. I don't even like her. Robert's voice dropped. And 2 nights ago, a woman kicked me for being cruel to a child and looked at me like I was capable of being better. No one's done that in 10 years. Clara stood up. So your plan is what? Make your fiancé jealous? That's pathetic. My plan is to find a way out of a contract without destroying my family's legacy. And I need time, 6 months to restructure, to find leverage, to use someone desperate enough to play along. Clara headed for the door. Find another fool, Mr. Blackwell. Clara. She froze. He'd used her first name. You're not a fool. You're the bravest person I've met. And I'm not asking you to do this for me. I'm asking you to do this for you. $1 million could change your life. Clara's hand trembled on the doorknob. He was right. That money could change everything. But at what cost? I need to think about it. You have 24 hours. After that, I'll have to find another way. Robert handed her a card. My private number. Call me when you decide. As Clara left, she didn't see Vivienne emerge from the private elevator. Her eyes narrowed, having heard every word through the partially open door. The game was about to get much more dangerous. Clara stood in the children's hospital where she volunteered every Thursday, watching little Emma color a picture of a rainbow. The 6-year-old had been fighting leukemia for 2 years. Miss Clara, if you had a magic wish, what would it be? Emma asked, not looking up from her drawing. Clara thought about the eviction notice, about her empty bank account, about Robert Blackwell's offer. I'd wish for enough money to help people who really need it, she said softly. Emma smiled. That's a good wish. Later, as Clara left the hospital, she found a familiar black Mercedes waiting at the curb. The window rolled down, revealing Robert in the back seat. Are you following me now? Clara demanded. Get in, please. I don't take orders from... It's raining, Clara, and you don't have an umbrella. She looked up. He was right. Damn him. Clara slid into the car, immediately regretting it when his cologne, something expensive and woodsy, filled her senses. How did you find me? I called the 3 places you volunteer. This was the 3rd. Robert studied her. You give away what little free time you have to sick children. Why? Because someone should. Clara stared out the window. Not everyone has the luxury of writing checks from a distance. Is that what you think I do? Isn't it? Big charity galas where the wealthy pat themselves on the back while popping children's balloons? Robert was quiet for a moment. You're right. I've become someone I don't recognize. Someone my father would be ashamed of. The vulnerability in his voice caught Clara off guard. My father died when I was 22, Robert continued. Left me an empire and expectations I've been suffocating under ever since. Somewhere along the way I forgot what actually matters. And kicking you reminded you. You standing up to me reminded me. He turned to face her. Have you made your decision? Clara's phone buzzed. A text from the landlord. Final warning. Pay by tomorrow or I'm changing the locks. If I do this, Clara said slowly, I have conditions. Name them. 10% goes to the children's hospital. Non-negotiable. Done. I won't lie to my best friend Riley. She knows the truth. Agreed. And we have rules. No actual involvement. This is business only. Something flickered in Robert's eyes. Of course, purely professional. Clara took a deep breath. Then I'm in. God help me, I'm in. Robert extended his hand. When Clara shook it, electricity shot through her arm. From his sharp intake of breath, he felt it too. Welcome to the performance of a lifetime, Miss Sullivan. 3 days later. Absolutely not. Clara stared at the rack of designer dresses in horror. I'm not wearing that. Helena, Robert's assistant, held up a tiny red dress. Mr. Blackwell's girlfriend needs to look the part. You're attending the Ashford Foundation Gala tonight. The one Vivian's hosting? Are you trying to get me killed? That's the point, Robert said, entering the private boutique. He'd closed it for 2 hours just for this. Vivian needs to see you. See us together. Clara grabbed a simple black dress. Then I wear this. You'll disappear in that. Good! Robert stepped closer, his voice dropping. Clara, you kicked me in front of 300 people because you weren't afraid to be seen. Don't start hiding now. Their eyes locked. Clara's heart hammered. Fine. But I'm wearing comfortable shoes. Deal. That evening, the Ashford estate made Buckingham Palace look modest. Clara stepped out of the limo in a midnight blue gown that hugged every curve, and yes, comfortable heels that she'd insisted on. Robert appeared beside her, devastatingly handsome in his tuxedo. He offered his arm. Ready? To walk into the lion's den with a fake boyfriend? Absolutely not. He laughed, really laughed, and Clara realized she'd never heard that sound before. It was beautiful. As they entered, conversations stopped. Cameras flashed. Clara heard the whispers. That's her. The one who kicked him. What is she doing here? Robert's hand moved to the small of her back, steady and warm. Ignore them. Look at me. Clara did. His green eyes held hers, and suddenly the room disappeared. There you are! Vivian's voice sliced through the moment. She glided over, resplendent in white, looking like an ice queen. Robert, darling, who's your guest? Vivian, meet Clara Sullivan, my girlfriend. Vivian's smile could have frozen hell. How unexpected. I wasn't aware you were seeing anyone. It's recent, Robert said smoothly, but when you know, you know. Indeed. Vivian's eyes raked over Clara like she was appraising livestock. You're the event attendant. How quaint. Tell me, dear, how does one go from serving drinks to wearing… Well, I assume that's borrowed. Clara felt her temper rising, but Robert squeezed her hand gently. Actually, Clara said sweetly, I prefer to think of it as ascending from working for a living to dating someone who actually appreciates hard work. Must be a foreign concept in your circles. Vivian's facade cracked for a split second. How delightful. Robert does love his charity cases. She turned to Robert. Mother wants to see you, about the wedding preparations. You remember, our wedding, in 4 months? How could I forget? Robert's voice was ice. As Vivian walked away, Clara whispered, She knows, about everything. Let her. Robert, she's going to destroy me. He turned to her, his expression fierce. Not while I'm breathing, she won't. The intensity in his voice made Clara's breath catch. This was supposed to be fake, just business. So why did it feel so terrifyingly real? Dance with me, Robert said suddenly. What? Everyone's watching. We need to sell this. But his eyes said something different. They said he wanted to. Deal or no deal. Clara let him lead her to the dance floor. When his arm wrapped around her waist and her hand found his shoulder, the world tilted. You're a good actress, Robert murmured as they swayed. So are you. What if I'm not acting? Clara looked up sharply, but before she could respond, the lights suddenly went out. Screams echoed through the ballroom. When emergency lights flickered on seconds later, Clara was pressed against Robert's chest, his arms protectively around her. What happened? She whispered. A security guard rushed to Vivian. Ma'am, someone cut the main power line. Deliberately. Vivian's eyes found Clara across the room, and her smile was pure poison. Well, she announced loudly, seems we have a saboteur at our gala. I wonder who would want to ruin my evening. All eyes turned to Clara. and Clara realized she'd just entered a war she was completely unprepared to fight. "That's ridiculous." Robert's voice cut through the murmurs like a knife. He stepped forward, Clara still in his arms. "Clara has been with me the entire evening." Vivian's smile never wavered. "Has she? You were both conveniently near the electrical room when the power went out." "We were on the dance floor, surrounded by 200 witnesses. Accomplices can work remotely, darling." Vivian turned to the crowd. "Everyone knows she has a history of violence against you, Robert. Who's to say she wouldn't escalate?" Clara felt the walls closing in. Every face in the room looked at her with suspicion or contempt. "Enough." Robert's voice was thunder. "Check the security footage. You'll see Clara never left my side. And if you continue this accusation, Vivian, you'll be hearing from my lawyers for defamation." The room held its breath. No one spoke to Vivian Ashford like that. Vivian's perfect composure finally cracked. "You're defending her? Over me? Your fiancé?" "My fiancé?" Robert's laugh was bitter. "Is that what you tell yourself? This arrangement stopped being about us the day you sold our wedding exclusive to 3 magazines without asking me." "Get out," Clara whispered, tugging Robert's sleeve. "Please, let's just go." Robert took her hand and led her through the crowd. The whispers followed them like ghosts. In the limo, Clara's hands shook as adrenaline crashed through her system. "That was a disaster. She set me up. She's scared," Robert said quietly. "Scared? She just accused me of sabotage in front of New York's elite." "Exactly, because she knows I'm serious about you." Robert caught himself. "About us." "This arrangement." Clara looked at him, really looked at him. His jaw was tight, his hands clenched. "You're engaged to a woman who would destroy an innocent person to keep you. How did it get this bad?" Robert was silent for a long moment. "My father arranged it when I was 17. Vivian was 15. A merger of empires, he called it. I thought I had time to find a way out, but then he died, and suddenly I was responsible for everything. Thousands of employees, shareholders. My mother's financial security. The contract became a cage I couldn't escape. But you never loved her. I barely know her. She's been groomed for this marriage her entire life. To her, I'm not a person. I'm a crown to wear." Clara's anger softened into something else. "What about what you want?" Robert turned to her, and the intensity in his eyes stole her breath. "I want to feel something real. Even if it's just for 6 months." The space between them crackled with electricity. Clara knew she should pull away, maintain professional distance, but she didn't. Robert's phone shattered the moment. He answered, his expression darkening with each second. "When?" Pause. "I'm on my way." He hung up, his face ashen. "It's my mother. She's in the hospital. Heart attack." "Oh my God, go. Come with me." "Robert, that's family business. I shouldn't, please." His voice broke on the word. "I can't face this alone." Manhattan Presbyterian Hospital. Eleanor Blackwell looked small in the hospital bed, monitors beeping steadily. She was awake, and her sharp blue eyes fixed on Clara the moment they entered. "Mother, this is the girl from the video, the one who kicked my son." Eleanor's voice was weak, but amused. "Come here, child." Clara approached nervously. "Mrs. Blackwell, I'm so sorry about what happened at the gala. I hope the stress of that circus of an engagement has been killing me for years. You're the first interesting thing to happen in ages." Eleanor grabbed Clara's hand with surprising strength. "Tell me honestly, do you love my son, or is this about money?" Clara froze. She loves me," Robert said firmly, moving to Clara's other side. "And I love her." Eleanor studied them both. "You're lying, but not entirely." She looked at Clara. "You have kind eyes." "My late husband had kind eyes. Robert looks like him, but he'd forgotten how to be kind. Until now, apparently." Clara felt tears prick her eyes. This woman was dying, and she was being fed lies. Mrs. Blackwell, Eleanor, and before you confess whatever guilt is eating you, know this. My son has been dead inside since his father passed. Tonight, walking in here with you, I saw him alive again. I don't care if it's real or pretend. I care that he's feeling something. Eleanor squeezed Clara's hand. Don't break him. A nurse entered. I'm sorry, but Mrs. Blackwell needs rest. Only one visitor. Stay with her, Clara said to Robert. I'll wait outside. But Eleanor held firm to Clara's hand. No, you stay too, both of you. 2 hours later, Clara woke to find herself curled in a chair, Robert's jacket draped over her. Eleanor was sleeping peacefully, stable. Robert stood by the window, silhouetted against the city lights. Clara joined him. You should rest. I can't. His voice was raw. When they called, all I could think was that she'd die believing her son was trapped in a loveless arrangement, that I'd failed to be happy. Robert, you're the first person in 10 years who's made me want to be better, who looked at me and saw someone worth defending a child for. He turned to her. This started as a deal, Clara, but somewhere between the kick and tonight, it became real for me. Clara's heart hammered. We agreed. I know what we agreed, and I'll honor it, but I need you to know the truth. His hand cupped her face, thumb brushing her cheek. I'm falling for you. The real you. Clara's breath caught. Every logical part of her brain screamed to run. But her heart. This is a terrible idea, she whispered. The worst. We're going to get hurt. Probably. Robert, Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. She opened it and went cold. A photo of her and Robert at the hospital. And below it, touching. Does he know about your debt? About why you really took his deal? Check your email. V. Clara's email loaded. Her face drained of color. Robert took the phone. His expression darkened as he read what Vivian had sent. Clara's entire financial history, student loans, medical bills from her parents' final days, the desperate application for experimental cancer treatment she couldn't afford. Everything. Clara, she's going to tell you I only wanted your money. That everything is fake. Clara's voice broke. And she's not wrong. I did take your deal because I was desperate. But that was before She stopped. Before you what? Clara looked up at him, tears streaming down her face. Before I started falling for you too. The truth hung between them, beautiful and terrifying. And in the hallway, Vivian's private investigator watched, camera ready, gathering ammunition for the war that was just beginning. The morning headlines were brutal. Blackwell heirs gold digger, waitress's desperate scheme exposed. Clara stared at her face plastered across every tabloid in the hospital cafeteria. Her financial records, her parents' death certificates, even her loan applications, all leaked to the press. Don't read that garbage, Robert said, snatching the newspaper away. It's not garbage if it's true. Clara's voice was hollow. I am broke. I did take your money. They're just missing the part where I fell for you. Then we tell them that part. Robert, your mother just had a heart attack. Your company's stock dropped 12% overnight because of me. Vivienne is winning. I don't care about. I care. Clara stood up, ignoring the stares from other visitors. I care that I'm destroying your life. That your employees might lose their jobs because you're with me. That your mother is alive because you were there last night. Robert grabbed her hands. The doctors said having both of us there, seeing me happy, kept her calm. You helped save her life, Clara. Mr. Blackwell? A lawyer in an expensive suit approached their table. I'm Gregory Marsh, representing Ashford Hotels. I have papers for you to sign. Robert's jaw clenched. Not interested. You haven't heard the terms. Miss Ashford is willing to graciously overlook this indiscretion if you end things with Miss Sullivan immediately and move forward with the wedding. If not, Ashford Hotels will pull all investments from Blackwell Industries. That's $400 million. You'll be bankrupt within a month. Clara felt sick. Robert, Get out, Robert said quietly. Mr. Blackwell, be reasonable. I said get out. Robert's voice echoed through the cafeteria. Tell Vivian she can take her ultimatum and… Sign it, Clara interrupted. Everyone turned to stare at her. Sign the papers, Robert. Clara, no. Your employees, your mother. Your father's legacy. I won't let you destroy everything for someone like me. Someone like you? Robert looked at her like she'd slapped him. You mean someone brave, compassionate, real? Someone who makes me want to be better? Someone who doesn't belong in your world. Clara's voice cracked. Look around, Robert. I'm a liability. Vivian knows it. This lawyer knows it. Everyone knows it but you. She turned and ran before he could see her cry. Clara's apartment. Riley found Clara on the bathroom floor, sobbing. I saw the news, Riley said softly, sitting beside her. All of it. I ruined him, Riley. Everything he worked for. Gone because of me. Did he say that? He doesn't have to. $400 million, Riley. That's not a number. That's thousands of people's livelihoods. Riley pulled Clara into a hug. So what are you going to do? Clara wiped her eyes. The right thing, for once. The Blackwell Industries. That afternoon, Robert sat in his office, staring at the unsigned contract. His uncle Marcus stood by the window, looking predatory. Sign it, nephew. This infatuation has cost us millions already. It's not an infatuation. Then what is it? Love. Marcus laughed. You've known her a week. Sign the papers, marry Vivian, and salvage what's left of your reputation. Or I call an emergency board meeting and have you removed as CEO. Your mother's shares automatically vote with mine if she's medically incapacitated. I already have 3 other board members ready to vote you out. Marcus leaned forward. You'll lose everything. The company, your position, your fortune. All for a girl who's probably already sold her story to the highest bidder. Robert's intercom buzzed. Sir, Miss Sullivan is here. She says it's urgent. Robert's heart leaped. Send her in. Clara walked in, and his relief died. She looked devastated but determined. Clara, I'm ending our arrangement. She placed a check on his desk. The full $1 million. I can't cash it. I won't. Clara, we can fight this together. No, we can't. Her voice broke. Robert, I met your mother. She's beautiful and kind, and she deserves to see you succeed. Your father built an empire. Thousands of families depend on you. I can't be the reason it all crumbles. Marcus smiled triumphantly. Very noble, Miss Sullivan. Now if you'll… I'm not finished. Clara turned to Marcus, and Robert saw the fire that had made him fall for her. You want him to sign away his happiness? Fine. But I'm going to tell you what you're getting. Robert Blackwell is the best man I've ever met. He's kind when the world taught him to be cruel. He's generous when he could be selfish. He sees people, really sees them, in a way no one in your world does. She turned back to Robert, tears streaming down her face. You deserve someone who fits in your world, someone who makes your life easier, not harder, someone worthy of you. You are worthy. I'm not. I'm the girl who kicks people at galas and works 3 jobs and comes with debt and drama, and you're the woman I love. Robert's voice silenced the room. I love you, Clara Sullivan. I've loved you since you kicked me for hurting a child, since you held my hand in a hospital, since you showed me what it means to actually care about something beyond balance sheets and board meetings. Clara sobbed. Robert, please don't make this harder. If I sign that contract, I lose my soul. If I fight for you, I might lose my company. But at least I'll still be me. He ripped the contract in half. I choose you. Marcus's face purpled with rage. You stupid, sentimental fool. I'm calling the board meeting. You're finished. Then I'm finished. Robert moved to Clara, cupping her face. I'd rather be broke with you than rich and dead inside. The office door slammed open. Helena rushed in with a tablet. Sir, you need to see this, now. On the screen was a video. Vivienne, clearly not knowing she was being recorded, speaking with her mother. I don't care if he loves her. We'll destroy her reputation, bankrupt his company if necessary. He'll have nowhere to go but crawling back to me. Then we'll own both empires. Where did this come from? Robert demanded. Anonymous tip. But sir, there's more. Helena swiped. Vivian's been embezzling from the Ashford Foundation for years. Millions. It's all here. Marcus went pale. That's impossible. Is it? Or did you know? Helena showed another document. Wire transfers from Vivian to an offshore account in your name, Marcus. You've been partners. The truth crashed down like a tidal wave. Marcus stumbled backward. I can explain. Save it for the police. Robert hit his intercom. Security, detain Marcus Blackwell. Helena, call our lawyers and the SEC. As security dragged Marcus out, Robert turned to Clara. The contract's void. Vivian broke it first with fraud, and my uncle can't vote me out from a prison cell. Clara stood frozen, overwhelmed. Robert, you don't have to decide anything now, but know this. I'm fighting for us. For real this time. No more deals, no more pretending. He took her hands. Just tell me one thing. Do you love me? Clara looked into his green eyes and saw her future. Terrifying. Uncertain. Beautiful. Yes, she whispered. God help me, yes. Robert pulled her into his arms and kissed her. It was desperate and passionate and real. But neither of them saw Vivian watching from the private elevator's security feed, her face twisted with rage. She'd lost the battle, but the war was far from over. 3 weeks later, Clara still wasn't used to waking up in Robert's penthouse. The floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park felt like living in a dream, or a very expensive fishbowl. You're thinking too loud, Robert murmured, pulling her closer. I can hear it from here. I'm thinking about how I don't belong in a place with 3 bathrooms just for guests. You belong wherever you choose to be. He kissed her temple, and I'm grateful you choose to be here. Clara turned to face him. In the morning light, Robert looked younger, the hard edges softened. Your mother's coming home from the hospital today. I know. She wants to meet you, properly this time. She already met me, while I was pretending to be your girlfriend for money. That's a great foundation. She knows the truth now, all of it, and she still wants to meet you. Robert smiled. She told me yesterday that any woman brave enough to kick sense into me deserves a chance. Before Clara could respond, Robert's phone erupted with calls, then hers, then the penthouse intercom. Helena's voice crackled through, frantic. Sir, turn on the news. Any channel, now. Robert grabbed the remote. Every station showed the same thing. Vivian Ashford, immaculate in a cream suit, giving a press conference. Heartbroken to reveal that Robert Blackwell has been suffering from a severe mental breakdown following his father's death. His relationship with Miss Sullivan is a symptom of this instability. I've filed papers to have him declared temporarily unfit to run Blackwell Industries for his own protection and that of the shareholders. Clara felt like she'd been punched. She can't do that, can she? Robert's face was stone. With the right doctors and lawyers, yes. If she convinces a judge I'm mentally incompetent, she could have me removed and appoint a conservator. But that's insane. You're perfectly... I gave up a $400 million deal for a woman I'd known a week. I ripped up a contract that would have saved my company. From the outside, it looks irrational. Robert stood up, pacing. She's weaponizing my choice to love you. The words hit Clara like glass. This is my fault. Again. No, this is her being desperate. But Robert's jaw was tight with worry. Blackwell Industries, emergency board meeting. The boardroom felt like a courtroom. 15 board members sat in judgment as Vivian's lawyer presented evidence of Robert's instability. Violent outbursts at charity events, impulsive financial decisions, involvement with a woman of questionable character. Watch your mouth, Robert growled. You see, aggression, inability to control emotions. The lawyer smiled like a shark. Mr. Blackwell needs help, not a company to run. Clara sat in the gallery, feeling sick. Riley squeezed her hand. Then Eleanor Blackwell entered, aided by a nurse. She looked fragile, but her voice was steel. "I invoke my right as primary shareholder to speak." Vivian's smile faltered. "Mrs. Blackwell, you should be resting." "I'll rest when I'm dead," which nearly happened because I was so miserable watching my son become a machine. Eleanor moved to the head of the table. "You want to discuss mental fitness? Let's discuss how Vivian Ashford has systematically manipulated, embezzled, and destroyed anyone who threatened her control." "Those charges were fabricated, were they?" Eleanor nodded to Helena, who projected documents on the screen. "3 other men who tried to break their engagement to you. All had mysterious scandals destroy their careers. All conveniently forced back into line or ruined." The room went silent. "My son made a choice," Eleanor continued. "Perhaps impulsive, perhaps crazy by your standards. But it was his first genuine choice in 10 years. He chose to feel something, to be human again." She looked at Clara. "That woman in the gallery loved my son enough to walk away to protect him. And he loved her enough to risk everything to keep her. That's not insanity. That's the sanest thing I've seen in this family for a decade." Vivian stood, shaking with rage. "You're all fools. This company will collapse without Ashford money." "Actually," Helena interrupted, pulling up more documents, 3 international investment firms reached out this morning. They were waiting to see if Robert would break free from the Ashford curse, as they call it. They're prepared to invest $600 million. Combined. The board erupted in whispers. Vivian's perfect composure shattered. "This isn't over, Robert. You humiliated me, made me look desperate. I will destroy everything you love, starting with her." She pointed at Clara, and something in her eyes made Clara's blood run cold. That night, Clara stood on the penthouse balcony, trying to process everything. They'd won. The board voted unanimously in Robert's favor. Vivian was under investigation. The company was safe. So why did she feel like something terrible was coming? "Hey!" Robert wrapped his arms around her from behind. "It's over. We won." "Did we?" "Robert, she threatened me." "Not vaguely, specifically. She's finished. She has no power left. Desperate people are dangerous." Clara turned to face him. "Maybe I should go away for a while, just until—" "No." Robert's grip tightened. "I'm not losing you because of her threats. We have security. We're—" Clara's phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. "Hello? Miss Sullivan, this is Dr. Morrison from St. Mary's Hospital. You're listed as an emergency contact for Emma Chen?" Clara's heart stopped. Little Emma, the girl with leukemia from her volunteer work. "What happened?" "She's been admitted to the ICU. It's serious. Her mother asked for you specifically." Clara was already moving, grabbing her coat. "I'm on my way." "Clara, wait." Robert caught her arm. "I'm coming with you." "You don't have to." "Yes, I do. She matters to you, which means she matters to me." St. Mary's Hospital, ICU. Emma looked so small in the hospital bed, machines beeping around her. Her mother, Mrs. Chen, was crying. "They say there's a treatment. Experimental. It could save her, but insurance won't cover it. It's $300,000. Mrs. Chen grabbed Clara's hand. "I don't know what to do." Clara felt tears streaming down her face. $300,000, a fortune. Impossible. "I'll pay for it," Robert said quietly. Everyone turned to stare at him. "I'll cover the treatment, all of it, whatever Emma needs." Mrs. Chen collapsed in sobs of relief. Clara looked at Robert, seeing him clearly for the first time. Not the billionaire, not the CEO, just a good man trying to help. "Why?" Clara whispered later, as they sat in the waiting room while Emma was prepped for treatment. "Because you would if you could. Because that little girl deserves a chance. Because for once in my life, money can actually do something that matters." Robert took her hand. "You taught me that." Clara kissed him then, not caring who saw. It was tender and sweet and full of promise. Her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. How touching. Enjoy the moment. It'll be your last happy one. I've made sure of that. V. Attached was a photo that made Clara's blood freeze. Riley, walking to her car, unaware she was being followed. Robert! Clara's voice shook. She has someone watching Riley. Robert's face went dark. He immediately called his head of security. Get a team to this address now, and find Vivian Ashford. I don't care where she is, find her. But even as he made the call, Clara knew they were one step behind, and Vivian was planning something far worse than either of them could imagine. Riley was safe. Robert's security team reached her within minutes, and she was now in the penthouse with a personal bodyguard. But that didn't stop Clara's hands from shaking. She's escalating, Robert said, pacing his office while his security chief briefed them. Vivian's left the country. Private jet to the Cayman Islands this morning. So she's running? Clara asked hopefully. Or regrouping? The security chief, Marcus Stone, was former FBI. People like her don't give up. They adapt. He was right. The email came at 3 a.m. Clara's phone lit up with a message from Vivian's lawyer. Final offer. You leave Robert within 24 hours, publicly stating you used him for money, or I release documents proving your parents' medical debt was actually paid by insurance fraud you committed. You'll go to prison. Choose wisely. Attached were falsified documents, expertly forged, showing Clara had allegedly filed fraudulent insurance claims for her parents' cancer treatment. Clara read it 3 times, her world crumbling. She manufactured evidence. This isn't real, but it looks real. Robert took the phone, his face darkening. She can't possibly think. She knows no one will believe me over her lawyers and her money. Clara stood up, decision made. I have to leave. Absolutely not. Robert, I won't go to prison for something I didn't do. Even if we prove it's fake, the trial could take years. The publicity would destroy your company all over again. Then we fight, together. We've been fighting for weeks. Your mother had a heart attack because of the stress. Emma almost died. Riley's being followed. Everyone I love is getting hurt because of me. Clara's voice broke. When does it end? When she's behind bars where she belongs. And how many people suffer before then? Clara grabbed her coat. I can't do this anymore. I won't. Clara, don't you dare. I love you. That's why I'm leaving. She moved to the door, tears streaming. You deserve a life that isn't a constant war. What about what I want? You. I want you. Clara looked back at him, memorizing his face. Sometimes love means letting go. She walked out before he could stop her. Riley's car. Dawn. You're making a mistake, Riley said as she drove Clara to the bus station. He loves you, really loves you. Which is why I have to go. She'll keep destroying everyone around me until I do. Clara stared out the window at the city waking up. At least this way, it ends. Where will you go? I don't know. Somewhere she can't find me. Somewhere I can start over. Clara forced a smile. Maybe I'll finally use that art degree. Riley pulled over suddenly. No. What? No. I'm not letting you run. Clara, you've been running your whole life. From your grief after your parents died, from your dreams because they seemed impossible, from happiness because you didn't think you deserved it. Riley grabbed her hands. For once, stay and fight. I can't beat her, Riley. She has unlimited resources and you have something she doesn't. People who actually love you. Robert, Eleanor, me, the kids at the hospital. We're your army. Riley's eyes blazed. And we're not going to let her win. Clara's phone rang. Helena. She almost didn't answer. Clara, thank God. You need to come back. Now. Helena, I can't. Vivian's at the hospital. St. Mary's. She's trying to pull funding for Emma's treatment. Clara's blood turned to ice. What? She's on the hospital board. She's claiming Emma's treatment is an inappropriate use of charitable funds. Clara, they're going to stop the procedure. Clara looked at Riley. Drive. Fast. Sti. Mary's hospital. Clara burst into the administrator's office to find Vivian sitting calmly, surrounded by lawyers. Miss Sullivan, how unexpected. Vivian smiled like a viper. Come to watch your little charity case lose her chance at life. You're a monster. I'm pragmatic. The hospital has limited resources. This experimental treatment could fund care for a dozen other children. Vivian stood, moving closer. But I might be persuaded to reconsider. If you hold up your end of our agreement. You want me to destroy Robert publicly. I want you gone. However that happens is up to you. Vivian glanced at her watch. You have 1 hour before the treatment is cancelled. Choose. Clara felt the walls closing in. Emma's life or Robert's reputation, a child's future or her own happiness. There was no choice at all. I'll do it, Clara whispered. I'll say whatever you want. Just save her. Clara, no! Riley grabbed her arm, but Clara pulled away. Draft the statement. I'll sign it. Vivian's smile was triumphant. How noble and predictable. The door slammed open. Robert strode in, flanked by his lawyers and Eleanor, looking fierce despite her frailty. The only statement being made today is by me, Robert announced. He turned to the hospital administrator. Vivian Ashford is no longer on this board. She resigned 5 minutes ago. Vivian laughed. I did no such thing. Actually, you did. Eleanor stepped forward, holding papers. When you embezzled from the Ashford Foundation, you broke your fiduciary duty. The board voted you out last night, unanimously. That's impossible. Your mother called the vote herself, Robert said quietly. Turns out she's been looking for a way to stop you for years. You terrorizing Clara gave her the excuse she needed. Vivian's perfect composure shattered completely. You think you've won? All of you? I will destroy. No, you won't. A new voice from the doorway. Vivian's mother, Catherine Ashford, elegant and cold as winter. You're done, Vivian. The family is cutting you off. Your trust fund, your position, everything. You'll be lucky if you stay out of prison. Mother, you can't. I should have done this years ago. You've become everything I raised you not to be. Catherine's voice broke. Get help, Vivian. Before you destroy yourself completely. Security escorted a screaming Vivian out. The room fell silent. Clara stood frozen, unable to process what had just happened. Robert moved to her. You were going to sacrifice everything for Emma. For me. Again. I couldn't let a child die because of our problems. And I couldn't let you throw away your life for mine. He cupped her face. We're partners, Clara. Equal partners. You don't get to make those decisions alone anymore. I was trying to protect you. I don't need protection. I need you. Stubborn, brave, impossible you. Robert smiled through his own tears. Marry me. Clara's heart stopped. What? Marry me, not because of a contract or an arrangement, because I love you, because I want to fight dragons with you for the rest of our lives. He pulled out a ring, simple, elegant, perfect. What do you say? Clara looked around the room, at Riley crying happy tears, at Eleanor beaming, at the hospital administrator already on the phone approving Emma's treatment. She looked at Robert and saw her future, messy, complicated, beautiful. Yes, Clara laughed through her tears. Yes, you ridiculous, wonderful man. Yes. He kissed her as everyone cheered. And for the first time in months, Clara felt like she could finally breathe. But as they celebrated, none of them noticed the photographer outside, capturing everything. Or the entertainment blog that would publish the photos within the hour, turning their private moment into a public spectacle. One last test awaited them. But this time, they'd face it together. The headline was everywhere by noon. Blackwell's rebound. Fortune hunter bags billionaire after all. Clara stared at her engagement ring, then at the photo spread showing their proposal. The article twisted everything, claimed she'd manipulated Robert from the start, that the whole Vivian drama was staged for publicity. "Don't read it," Robert said, taking her phone. They were back in the penthouse, planning their next move. "Robert, this makes you look like an idiot. Your shareholders are going to... already calling for a press conference." Helena entered with her tablet. "The board wants a statement within 24 hours. Riley paced angrily. "Can't you sue them?" "We could, but it would take years and make everything worse." Robert ran his hand through his hair, frustrated. "They want a scandal. We won't give them one." "So what do we do?" Clara asked. Robert looked at her and slowly smiled. "We get married. Tomorrow." Everyone stared. "Are you insane?" Riley said. "The press will eat you alive." "Let them." Robert took Clara's hands. "We've been reacting to everyone else's moves this entire time. Vivian's, the board's, the media's. I'm done playing defense." He turned to Clara. "What do you say? Want to give them a real story?" Clara thought about everything they'd been through. The kick, the deal, the threats, the love that grew despite it all. "I say let's kick destiny in the shin one more time." The next day, Central Park. They didn't have a cathedral or 1,000 guests. They had the Bethesda fountain, 50 close friends and family, and the most important people in their lives. Eleanor sat in the front row, healthy and beaming. Emma was there, cancer-free, holding Riley's hand. Mrs. Chen dabbed her eyes. Helena served as maid of honor. The press camped outside the park perimeter, held back by security. Let them watch. This was real. Clara walked down the makeshift aisle in a simple white dress. Nothing designer, just her. Robert wore his best suit, but his tie was slightly crooked because he'd been too nervous to get it right. "We probably look ridiculous," Clara whispered when she reached him. "We look perfect," Robert whispered back. The officiant smiled. "We're gathered here today to witness something remarkable. Not a merger of companies or a social arrangement, but two people who chose each other despite every reason not to." Clara felt tears already forming. Robert and Clara have written their own vows. Robert took her hands, his voice steady but emotional. "Clara Sullivan, you kicked me. Literally and figuratively. You kicked sense into me, kicked down my walls, kicked open my heart. You showed me that being vulnerable isn't weakness. It's the bravest thing we can do. I promise to be worthy of your courage every day, to protect what matters, to fight for us, and to never ever pop another child's balloon." Laughter rippled through the crowd. Clara wiped her eyes. "Robert Blackwell, I called you the most despicable person I'd ever met. I was wrong. You're the best person I've ever met. You taught me that I deserve happiness, that my past doesn't define my future, and that sometimes the craziest decisions are the right ones." She squeezed his hands. "I promise to stay and fight, even when running seems easier, to believe in us, even when the world doesn't, and to keep kicking you when you need it." More laughter. Robert grinned through his tears. "Do you, Robert, take Clara?" "I do, absolutely, without question." "And do you, Clara?" "Yes, I do. You're supposed to wait for me to finish the question." "Sorry, I'm kind of in love with him." The officiant laughed. "Then by the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may—" Robert was already kissing her. It was passionate and joyful and very public, and Clara didn't care one bit. The crowd erupted in cheers. Emma and the other children from the hospital blew bubbles. It was perfect chaos. The reception, tavern on the green. The party was intimate but joyful. No ice sculptures or champagne towers. Just good food, better company, and a lot of love. Eleanor pulled Clara aside during dinner. "Thank you for giving me my son back. He was always there. He just needed a reason to remember." "No, he needed you." Eleanor hugged her. "Welcome to the family, daughter." Later, Robert pulled Clara onto the dance floor. "No power outages tonight, I hope." "If there are, I know a good electrician." "Do you?" No, but I'll figure it out. That's what we do now. Figure things out together. Robert spun her, and Clara laughed. Really laughed, for the first time in months. What are you thinking? He asked. That I'm married to a billionaire and I still have student loans. We'll pay them off tomorrow. Robert. Partners, remember? What's mine is yours, including my ridiculous wealth and my even more ridiculous family. Speaking of family, Clara smiled mysteriously. I have a wedding gift for you. Clara, I don't need... She handed him an envelope. Inside was a check. $1 million. The original payment. I'm giving it back. I don't want our story to start with a transaction. I want it to start with a kick and a choice. Robert stared at the check, then at her. You're impossible. You love it. I really do. He kissed her again, and somewhere outside, the press took photos. Tomorrow, there would be headlines. Some good, some bad. But tonight, in this moment, Clara and Robert had everything that mattered. Midnight. On the penthouse balcony, Clara and Robert watched the city lights. Do you think we'll be okay? Clara asked softly. With all the scrutiny and pressure. Robert pulled her close. We survived Vivian Ashford and corporate espionage. I think we can handle some tabloids. What happened to her anyway? Last I heard, she's in a wellness retreat in Switzerland, court-ordered. Robert sighed. I hope she finds peace. You're too good. No, I just understand now. She was trapped too, just in a different kind of cage. He kissed Clara's temple. You freed us both. Clara turned to face him. So what now? We just live happily ever after. Well, first we go on a honeymoon. Then we come back and I teach you how to run a company, because you're brilliant and I need you. Then we probably argue about curtains or something domestic. Then we save more Emmas. Then we grow old together. Robert smiled. Is that acceptable? Clara pretended to think about it. Can I still kick you occasionally? I'd be disappointed if you didn't. She kissed him under the stars, and somewhere in the city, a little girl named Emma looked at a balloon and smiled, knowing that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is kick destiny as hard as you can and see what happens. And sometimes, destiny kicks back with love. 5 years later. The gallery opening was packed. New York's art scene buzzed with excitement over the newest exhibition at the Sullivan Blackwell Foundation for Children's Arts. Clara stood before her favorite piece, a massive canvas showing a woman kicking a star, sending it flying across a night sky. The title read, The Moment Everything Changed. Still your best work, Riley said, appearing beside her with 2 glasses of champagne. Though I might be biased. You're definitely biased. You're the director of this whole foundation. Clara smiled at her best friend, who now oversaw all their charitable programs. Co-director. You and Robert won't let me forget that. Riley clinked glasses with her. Speaking of, where is your annoyingly perfect husband? Probably getting mobbed by the kids from the art program. Clara scanned the crowd and found him, Robert, surrounded by a dozen children showing him their paintings. He looked completely at ease, laughing at something a little boy was saying. He caught her eye and winked. 5 years, and her heart still fluttered. Clara Sullivan Blackwell? A young journalist approached nervously. Would you answer a few questions for Arts Weekly? Of course. Your story is legendary now. The waitress who kicked a billionaire and ended up revolutionizing children's art education. Do you ever regret how it all started? Clara thought about that night at the gala. The popped balloon, the kick, the fury and fear and unexpected love. Not for a second. Sometimes the best things come from the most chaotic moments. And your relationship with Mr. Blackwell? The media said it would never last. The media said a lot of things. Clara smiled. We're still here, still fighting for what matters, just with better communication now. The journalist laughed and moved on. Eleanor appeared, walking without assistance now, her health fully restored. There's my favorite daughter-in-law, Eleanor said, kissing Clara's cheek. though technically my only daughter-in-law. How are you feeling? Wonderful, especially since I got the news this morning. Eleanor's eyes sparkled with mischief. Robert told me about the baby. Clara's hand instinctively moved to her still flat stomach. We were going to announce it tonight at dinner. I won't say a word, but Clara... Eleanor took her hands. You and Robert have built something beautiful. This foundation, your marriage, and now a family. My husband would have been so proud. I wish I could have met him. He would have loved you, especially after you kicked some sense into our son. Eleanor laughed. He always said the Blackwell men needed strong women to keep them honest. Across the room, a commotion at the entrance made everyone turn. A woman in an elegant but understated dress entered, looking uncertain and out of place. Vivienne Ashford. The crowd went silent. Clara felt Robert materialize beside her, protective. I'll handle this, he said quietly. No, we'll handle it together. Clara squeezed his hand. They approached Vivienne, who looked different, softer. Her hair was simpler, her makeup minimal. She looked human. I know I shouldn't be here, Vivienne said softly, but I saw the announcement about the gallery opening and She took a breath. I wanted to apologize, properly, for everything. Clara studied her. How long have you been back? 6 months. Therapy helped. A lot. Vivienne looked at Robert. I was so focused on winning that I forgot to ask what I was actually trying to win. A man who didn't love me. A life that made me miserable. I'm sorry, Robert. And Clara, I'm especially sorry to you. Thank you, Clara said simply. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that what you two have, it's real. And I was wrong to try to destroy it. Vivienne glanced around the gallery. This foundation, helping children create art. It's beautiful. My therapist suggested I volunteer somewhere, maybe. Would you have space for someone who's trying to be better? Robert and Clara exchanged looks. Yes, Clara said. Everyone deserves a second chance. Vivienne's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. She turned to leave, then paused. For what it's worth, Robert. She was always the right choice. I see that now. As Vivienne left, Robert pulled Clara close. You're amazing. You know that? I learned from the best. Clara kissed him softly. Ready for the big announcement? Which one? The baby or the surprise? The surprise you think I don't know about? Robert laughed. How did you? You left the blueprints on your desk, the new children's hospital wing with a full art therapy center. Robert, it's perfect. It's our legacy, for our child, and for all the Emmas out there. He placed his hand on her stomach. You changed my life, Clara. Let's change theirs. Later that night, after the formal announcements, the baby, the hospital wing, the foundation's expansion, Clara found herself back on a familiar balcony. Not the penthouse, but the rooftop garden they'd created at their family home in Brooklyn. Penny for your thoughts? Robert joined her, wrapping a blanket around her shoulders. I was thinking about Lucy, the little girl from the gala, the balloon. I saw her today. She's 12 now, part of our advanced art program. Wants to be an animator. Clara smiled. That balloon that popped changed everything. No, you kicking me changed everything. Robert turned her to face him. Before you, I was sleepwalking through life. You woke me up, made me feel, made me fight. We fought a lot in the beginning. We still fight, just about better things now. He kissed her forehead, like whether our daughter should learn to kick people who deserve it. Daughter? I have a feeling. Call it father's intuition. Clara laughed. If we have a daughter, I'm definitely teaching her to kick. I'd expect nothing less. They stood together, looking out at the city that had witnessed their chaotic beginning and their beautiful present. Somewhere out there, a child was dreaming of creating art. Somewhere, someone was about to make a crazy, impulsive decision that would change their life. And somewhere, Destiny was smiling, because sometimes the universe knows exactly what it's doing when it puts a fierce woman and a lost man in the same room with a balloon. Clara's phone buzzed. A message from Emma, now 11 and cancer-free, studying art at their foundation. Miss Clara, I finished my painting for the gallery. It's called When Heroes Kick. Thank you for teaching me that being brave means standing up, even when you're scared. Love, Emma. Clara showed Robert, both of them tearing up. We did good, Robert whispered. We're doing good, Clara corrected. Present tense. We're not done yet. No, he agreed, pulling her close as snow began to fall on the city below. We're just getting started. And as they kissed under the winter sky, neither noticed the small figure watching from the window below. Eleanor, smiling at her son and daughter-in-law, knowing that sometimes the greatest love stories begin with the most unexpected kick. In the distance, a child's balloon floated up past their balcony, red and bright against the snow. Clara and Robert watched it rise, disappearing into the night sky. Not every balloon pops, some just fly free, just like them. The end author's note. Thank you for following Clara and Robert's journey from that fateful kick to their happily ever after. Their story reminds us that love doesn't always arrive gracefully. Sometimes it kicks down our door, challenges everything we thought we knew, and forces us to become better versions of ourselves. May you all find someone worth kicking destiny for, and maybe avoid popping children's balloons at charity galas.